Alright, today's video, I'm going to be talking about what they call the Sony Spider-Man universe. They're trying to start a cinematic universe. It's not really a cinematic universe. It's an attempt to, cash in on the Marvel cinematic universe and the superhero trend franchise, big blockbusters. Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, things like that. And Morbius was just released on DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, all those things. I actually did see Morbius in theaters, and I knew it was gonna suck, but I saw it anyway just because I thought Morbius was an interesting character, and he is a good character. It's just that the movie wasn't executed very well at all. You know, the special effects, all the smoke surrounding Morbius and the other vampire. They, they tried to do like a Nightcrawler type effect, but they just did it like almost in every scene, and they did like slow mo, to where they would just like do slow motion like every time there was a fight with Morbius using his powers. So normally critics get it wrong with movies, and they're just full of crap. But critics actually got it right with Morbius. I think it's got like a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I choose to see movies or not see them by judging from critic reviews, but I think this time they were kind of right with the Morbius review and giving it the rating they did. So it's pretty fair. It's a pretty fair rating. It's kind of like Catwoman tier, as far as uh, being really bad of a film. It's kind of like on the level of Catwoman with Halle Berry and like Fantastic Four from 2015. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on Sony's attempted cinematic universe and their future, which I don't really think they'll have a future, but they have to call it quits. They need to call it quits now before they lose too much money. The problem with Sony Cinematic Universe is they started off the universe um, with Venom, right? So they started off the universe with Venom, and Venom is one of the few characters that has a direct link to Spider-Man. Like, his origin story is that he's literally born from Spider-Man's rage, and his anger, you know. And then the symbiote has resentment from being cast away by Peter. So you can't have a Venom character without that aspect of the character in a cinematic universe. You just can't. You cannot start off a cinematic universe revolving around Spider-Man with the Venom character. It just doesn't work. Now the film was profitable, but this universe just isn't going to work. The second film was the second one was even worse than the first film. So it's just not going to work. It makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. And then they had Morbius, which again, nothing makes sense in the post credit scenes. For some reason, Adrian Toomes, Vulture from the MCU, is transported into the Venom universe, and he just shows up in a prison, which is super random. And then, Morbius drives out to the outskirts of town. He meets Vulture, and Vulture has the same suit from the MCU, even though he just got transported to this random universe that he knows nothing about. So that would suggest that in the Morbius Venom universe, there was a Chitauri invasion, and all that tech was just somewhere being kept because he was able to build the same Venom or the same Vulture suit. And he's like, well, I don't know how I got here, but I think Spider-Man has something to do with it, so we should team up. Morbius is like, Okay. And it's like, well, Morbius doesn't know who Spider-Man is. There is no Spider-Man in this universe. There isn't one. So again, none of it makes sense. Sony, what you need to do is just cut your losses, do what you need to do to come to an agreement and a deal to use your characters in Marvel's films, kind of like how they did with Civil War, and then the MCU trilogy for the Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man. So just come to an agreement, make a deal to where they can use your characters in their films. Let them let them take care of the story, the directing, the editing, everything. Just let them do everything, and you guys just sit back and just rake in the money. Because, for example, No Way Home, it raked in like over like what $1.8 billion, and so Sony and Marvel split. How they split the cash due to their agreement is what needs to happen, because the Sinister Six thing that they're trying to build up to, it's not going to work. It's definitely not going to work, because none of these characters in this universe would have any relationship or animosity towards Spider-Man. It doesn't work. There is no Spider-Man in this universe, so it's nonsensical. It's silly. It's just a pathetic attempt to chase after the Marvel Cinematic Universe and get in on the superhero craze right now. But it's completely pathetic, and you guys just need to just stop while you're ahead. License your property to Marvel. Let them take care of all the stories and everything, and then you guys just get paid your royalty on the films, and just do it that way. Because after seeing the Sony films, after watching all three, Venom, Venom 2, and Morbius, I can't see myself watching Craven the Hunter, which is the next film that's coming out. And Craven's also a good character. Craven's also a good character. Um, but they seriously, they've got to stop, because it's it's just sad, pathetic, and these are some sorry films, man. Like, just absolutely, like, you would think maybe somebody straight out of film school started making these films, you know, and it's like, this is a big, huge company, you know, so they should be able to hire the best talent and the best people. But they have the best people, they have the best talent, they have a lot of money, but it's just their creative team and even their business side of things. They don't know how to get this franchise off the ground. So my opinion would be to just cut your losses. Morbius was maybe a little. I don't think they were profitable. I don't think they broke even. I'd have to check, but it definitely wasn't a. If it was a success financially, it wasn't a huge success. But yeah, they've just got to turn it over to Marvel, let Marvel handle it, and they rake in the dough, because Spider-Man universe, the characters, a lot of good characters. They could fit very well into the MCU. But the way Sony is handling things right now, it's just not going to work out well for them financially. So basically, that's just my take on it. And if they were smart, they would do the same deal with their characters and have them featured in the MCU. Like the licensing agreement. That's really the best option for them, so they can kind of avoid these, these misfires, these kind of box office bomb movies, and just like these critical reception, just you know bad reviews from audiences and critics alike. So those are my thoughts on the Sony Cinematic Universe. They call it the Spider-Man Sony Spider-Man universe. That's my thought on the Sony Spider-Man universe and what they should do going forward.